Daniel Horwitz joins me now. He's a partner at McLaughlin and Stern law firm, and he's a former Manhattan assistant district attorney. Thank you so much for being with us, Daniel. As a former assistant DA in the Manhattan district attorney's office, what do you make of the verdict?
Yeah. In the lecture? Yeah.
I'm not surprised. The DA put together a masterful case with tremendous amount of corroboration around Michael Cohen. They had witnesses to the hilt. They had tapes. They had documents. They did an extraordinarily thorough and comprehensive job. And the fact that the jury came back so quickly with a verdict, and frankly, the questions that they posed yesterday really sort of framed exactly what the DA wanted them to think about, which is the bookend of David Pecker and Michael Cohen corroborating each other about the most important elements of the crime.
So explain that bookend for people who are not fully versed on all the details of this case. What were the two underlying, or what were the most important underlying facts that were solidified? And just to remind people, Michael Cohen was a thoroughly compromised witness who spent his career lying as an employee for Donald Trump, was then convicted for lying, and then wasn't, didn't seem tremendously credible at times on the stand. Nevertheless, your point is there was corroborating evidence around those bookends. Explain what you think that they solidified in the minds of the jury.
Sure. I mean, the central allegation is that Donald Trump, along with Michael Cohen and David Pecker, orchestrated this conspiracy to help Trump get elected by suppressing unfavorable and unflattering stories and by paying off Stormy Daniels not to tell her story that Donald Trump had slept with her, Karen McDougal, the same thing. And David Pecker, as the publisher of the National Enquirer, was a critical player in that because there were stories from Stormy Daniels, from Karen McDougal, that, to use his word, the National Enquirer caught and killed, meaning that they went out, got the stories, paid those people money so that the stories would never run. And that was all intended to help Donald Trump in the days leading up to the 2016 election. And the bookends, you have David Pecker, longtime publisher of the National Enquirer, friend of Donald Trump, said he was a friend of Donald Trump when he testified, said he still liked Donald Trump, testifying. You also have Michael Cohen, the president's fixer, who by title was a lawyer, but really did all the dirty work. And he's the one who sort of put all of the details into execution that Trump had detailed to him, along with Trump's other lieutenants, Alan Weisselberg and others in the Trump organization.
Daniel, let me ask you this final question about this possible grounds for appeal on this question, which is the judge instructed the jury that as they considered the evidence and considered whether the former president falsified business records, they had to think about whether it was done in furtherance of covering up another crime, and that they could choose between three different kinds of crimes. One were state election laws, one was federal election laws, and then the third was other business forms, I guess also, and tax records. The argument from the Trump team is that's crazy, the kind of pick your lane way of turning this into a felony. Why is that not a good grounds for appeal?
I mean, I think that it's, as a lot of people have said, it's not a theory that's been well trod. And so as a result, any defense lawyer, whether it's Donald Trump's or anybody else, is going to say, hey, look, this is a novel theory, so we've got good grounds for appeal. The reason it doesn't really work, in my view, is because the fundamental crime that underlies the falsifying of business records, in other words, false entries were made in business records to cover up another crime. And that crime, as the judge instructed the jury, was a violation of New York State election law, which says that you can't engage in illegal conduct with an election by unlawful means. And it's that phrase, the unlawful means, that Trump and his team have seized on and the prosecutors and the judge instructed the jury that there are these three different alternatives as to what unlawful means actually means. Now, I don't think that at the end of the day, the appellate division, which is the appellate court in New York State, is going to find much truck in Trump's argument on that point.
Daniel Horwitz, thank you so much for being with us.